want the chaise lounge or do you want the normal seat? You can lay out if you want. Are you okay? You okay on that? Or you can lie down if you want.
Yeah.
Should we get the seat? So, we'll get you there. We'll get you there. There we go. So.
Thank you for that intro.
Well, you know.
Very impressive, yeah.
I try. It's early in the morning.
I'm going to go home and look myself up now.
That's what I did. Just wicked. Oh, it's nice and relaxed in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still the morning.
I mean, for a matinee, this isn't a bad audience.
It's a great audience. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick chat about your career at the beginning and how you got to where you are now. And then we're going to open it up to the floor. You're all right taking some questions? Come in, don't worry.
Yeah.
We've only just started.
Hello.
It's the man from Harry Potter. The nasty one.
Don't feel embarrassed, we're all looking at you.
There we go. Come and get seated. Come on. There you go. Like you know him. Come on, David. How are you doing? So, with the question and answers, I didn't realise we had microphones set up there. So, if you want to queue up when I say there's a Q&A, if you want to queue up by the microphones, and we'll take them one at a time. And we've got another 40 minutes, so don't worry too much. Are you coming in? You coming in for David Bradley from Harry Potter? It's the man from Harry Potter. He's not that nasty as he is on the screen, I promise you. As long as you get to bed in time, you're fine. You coming in? Last few people. There we go. Last few stragglers. Come on. I think you're scaring him, David. I think that's what it is. There we go. The last few people. So we'll crack on anyway. So you tell us about how it all started. You're a classically trained actor, aren't you? From RADA. You went to RADA.
I went to RADA, and so I got a good start because I never went to university, and RADA was like a university for me, as well as learning about acting and everything. I also met people from different backgrounds to myself, and where I came from in York, originally I suppose we lived on the council estate. I never went to the theatre. My family weren't, we were a working class family, and we never had books in the house, never went to the theatre, as I said, and so for me to go down to London on my own with, I had an education, but I never paid attention. They tried, but I wasn't interested in anything other than just playing football in the street, and then I discovered acting at a youth club, and I thought, this is fun, and I want to do this in my spare time, and it helped me not only eventually career-wise, but it helped me in my confidence, because I was quite shy and I had a few friends who I played football in the street with on the estate, but I didn't have much. So anybody in a suit, I felt intimidated by, Yeah. And so by doing the acting just as a hobby in the evenings, I found it just gave me a lot of confidence, and I made a lot of friends out of it, and for me that was enough. I never thought of doing it as a job, because I was told that people from my background, you didn't do that for a living. It was something that you had to have a proper education, and so eventually I got the confidence to try for drama school, and it took me like 4 auditions to go in, and so once I was in, I was off, and I just absolutely loved it, and I've been quite busy ever since, really.
Just a little bit, yeah.
For 54 years now, so I'm delighted that I've gone a little past retirement age.
Not yet, sure.
I had my 80th last month, and I'm still working. And
applause for that.
I'm not saying that to show off, but I just feel very fortunate that people still ask me to do jobs. But of course, there's always parts in films and TV for pensioners, seniors.
Not much. You can still play an action role, I'm sure you can.
Oh, well, I did in The Strain. Has anybody seen The Strain? Oh, I've met one or two already this morning. And I thought, in my 70s, playing an action hero, I mean, when do you get a chance to do that? And I was like beheading a lot of vampires. And I thought, this is great, you know. And, it's something I never imagined.
Yeah, working class lad made good. And you did King Lear in theatre, but you also did a role as the caretaker as well, didn't you?
Yes.
Which would have a knock-on
That's
effect.
right, the Harold Pinter, I did that. That was quite physical. And
did that give you any grounding for
well,
Filch?
it was like a warm-up for Filch.
And you did other stuff as well. So you did TV. So you worked with David Yates, and that's how it is. Tell us how you got the role of Filch.
Well, we were on holiday with the kids, and about late 90s, can't remember. And it was when the first book came out, and my 3 kids were all passing this book on to each other after they'd read it, and I couldn't get any conversation out of them. I thought, we're on holiday here, and all they're doing is they're reading this kids' book, this Harry Potter thing, whatever it is. That was what I thought. And they said, in order to have any kind of conversation with the kids on holiday, I thought I'd better read it and see what they're into. But it didn't look like my thing, you know. For me, it was a kid's book, and of course it's not. It's for kids of all ages, even my age. And so I read it, and I thought, this is really good. I enjoyed it, and so we had something to talk about on holiday. And my kids said, oh, they're making a film. I said, are they? Oh, yeah. Get your agents onto it. And I said, which part should I put my name down for? And thinking they might say something like Snape, because he's cool and suave. You know? Thankfully, they gave it to the brilliant Alan Rickman in the end, because I would have been totally ill-suited for it. And my daughter said, no, you're a Filch, Dad, you're a natural. So, oh, well, you know, it's time to face reality, you know, that's how your kids see you. And, okay, but I think there wasn't much, it wasn't a huge part in the books, it didn't seem, but it's turned out to be quite more popular than I thought it would be. I thought I'd be a hate figure for children everywhere. You know? I thought I'd have kids shouted at me in the street, but it's been very nice. And so it took a lot of auditions, a lot of going back, and it took about 4 or 5 months waiting before they made, because they saw everybody, you know, lots of people, every actor I knew wanted to be in Harry Potter, because, especially those with kids, because it's the kids that put pressure on you, you know. So every time I'd go for an audition, I'd say, Dad, you've got to get this, you've got to get this. Because I went up for a Superman 7 or something, and I didn't get that, and they were quite disappointed that I wasn't going to be in Superman, to get the part of somebody. So sometimes you go up for these jobs, and the process is quite long and convoluted, and they see so many people. And sometimes it gets down to like just 2 or 3 of you for the part, and they give it to somebody else, and you've just got to put up with that. That's part of the nature of the business, you know. So to get something like Filch, but at the time it was only maybe going to be 1 film. They didn't know they were going to make the film of every book, and we didn't know there were going to be. How many books were there? 8. I should know this.
We'll come for you, don't worry.
So each time a book came out, I'd send my kids down to the local bookshop. I'd say, good, flip through it, see if I'm still alive. And they, you know, kids come back and said, yeah, Filch is in the next one, another film, Dad. Oh, great. And this went on for 10 years. And I'm amazed that it's still, I was talking to somebody from yesterday, I was in London, and we're just saying, isn't it amazing how each generation coming up gets into it? And me and so the other actors in it are very grateful that it's got this this life. And you know, people say, can I have your autograph? And my daughter, she's a Harry Potter fan. I say, all right, how old is she? She's 45. Yeah. For my kid. Yeah. And so now I meet young people, you know, here as well as everywhere else, who weren't even born when we finished making the films, let alone when we started. And that's just fantastic. You think, this is, how long can this go on, you know? And long may it continue, and I'm very grateful for it, because it's, and yeah, so it's been very nice.
Speaking of generations, it's a seamless segue now, regenerations.
Yeah.
You were the Doctor.
Yes.
Did you have to audition for that as well? Because I can't think of anybody else who could play Hartnell.
I did. Mark Gatiss approached me, and he tapped me on the shoulder in London at an event, and I didn't know Mark, and he just said, I'm writing this thing for the 50th anniversary. Would you play William Hartnell? So I just said, yes, when do I start? You know, I didn't even say, normally you'd say, oh, send me a script, I'd love to have a read of it. But I knew from his writing that it would be good, and he wrote several drafts, several versions of this story about William Hartnell, and gradually every draft got more interesting, because it told the story of not only what a brilliant actor he was, judging by a lot of the other British films he did before Doctor Who, but also he was a very complicated man, and he had his bad side as well as his good side, and so the more complex he got, the more different sides he had to himself. Mark gradually wrote them all in, and I thought it got more and more interesting. Because it's always interesting to play someone who's not just a good guy or a bit of a villain. What you look for is all the complicated things that make up human beings. You know, we've all got moments and things that we do. You know, sometimes people can be very approachable, and sometimes not so, and they've got issues about different things, and we're all the same. And the more you find in a drama, the more interesting it is, as we know, whether it's a play or a film. And I found that Mark showed him for what as he was, as a human being, and people still went along with it and loved it, and he could be really difficult, and he had,
seems to be a theme now. There's difficult characters and
yes, and I spoke to people who've been in the original with him, and they all told me stories about, you know, about how generous he could be and how unpleasant he could be and whatever. So
is it like for both Harry Potter and Doctor Who? Are you part of the family now?
Yes, I think so. In Adventure in Space and Time, I felt like I was the actor playing the actor who played Doctor Who. But in Twice Upon a Time, the Christmas episode with Peter, it felt like I was part of the Doctor Who family. I could say I played the Doctor rather than the actor who played the Doctor.
Is that the same with Harry Potter as well? Are you part of the Harry Potter family now? And
yes.
Do you ever get to meet up with the cast?
Not really. I get up to meet with James Phelps at the Aston Villa football ground, where I've got season tickets there, so I see him a lot.
Yeah.
But we don't socialise or anything. But if we see each other at some event like this, it's always nice to catch up, because we've all got a shared memory of being in it, and so it is a kind of a family. But you know, we don't live near each other, or we don't socially mix.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
It's obviously the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
But we're going to open it up to the floor now. Is it all right to ask some questions? Get some questions from the thing?
Yeah.
So if anybody's got some questions, if you want to make your way over and queue, Iron Man is already there.
Wow!
Look at that. If you want to speak clearly into the microphone, he's dabbing as well. We go. If you just want to queue up, then we'll get the questions.
Wait, do I sound weird?
No, you sound fine.
So, I had a question. So, what series was your favourite? And in that series, what was your favourite, episode or film?
On film,
Yeah.
generally.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, that's a good question. Now, may I compliment you on your costume as well, sir? Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Harry Potter, isn't it? It's for Harry Potter, or?
I'm asking about Harry Potter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think my favourite one was in Chamber of Secrets, where I pushed my way through the crowd and found my cat petrified. And
That's sad.
I have to come through with. And as you may remember, I pushed my way through and said, "You murdered my cat. I'll kill ya. I'll kill ya." Yeah. And I go off on one, and they're all in it. I haven't got Harry, because Richard Harris, who plays Dumbledore, he was in it. Ken Branagh, Alan Rickman, they were all in the scene, and so was my daughter, because she played one of the school kids. She joined me, and Chris Columbus, the director, said, "Is that your daughter? Give her a costume, let her be in the scene." And so she was in it briefly as one of the school kids. And I just loved doing that scene because I got a chance to scream at everybody.
As well, this side looks like the positive side because no one is lined up.
Thank you for your question.
Round of applause for that question, please. State your name as well so we know who we're talking to. What was your name, sir?
Rory.
Rory. Thank you, Rory.
Thanks, Rory. Cheers.
And there's another child here with a hat on. What's your name, sir?
At 47, I'm not really a child. My question, what was your best memory of working on the strain?
Oh, there are quite a few. I tell you what wasn't, was working beside Lake Toronto at 3 o'clock in the morning at 25 degrees below. And you just want your own bed. But there were so many. And but my favourite scenes were riding in the truck with Kevin Durand, who played Fett, the rat catcher, because we made each other laugh, and the director allowed us to improvise and make it up. And there were a lot of outtakes on the blooper reel involving me and Kevin. And we do, when we had a little break during filming, we'd make little rap songs. And the producers heard one or two, and they threw some money at us to do a kind of advert, a rap with vampire girls, and I don't know if you saw it.
I'm going to look it up.
Look it up.
That sounds amazing. It sounds like that.
Yeah, it's called Vamps Boom, and it's on YouTube, Vamps Boom, and me and Kevin did that, and that was really cool, and I think they just did it as a kind of advert for the show. But yeah, all my scenes with Kevin, yeah.
Amazing, thank you.
Thank you, thanks for watching.
Christopher Lee did a metal album when he was 90, so there's still a chance for you to do a rap album, isn't there?
Yeah.
Get a crowdfunder thing sorted out.
Again, if something you think, oh, and I've never done that before, and something that comes up that you haven't done, it's a thrill, you know, to get a chance to just
try some new stuff,
Yeah.
Being a vampire killer,
yeah.
rapping.
Yeah.
We'll go this side and then we'll go to that side. So what's your name and what's your question?
My name's Lola, and I really do like the Harry Potter films. And how did you feel when you were working with all the people?
Well, I was working with some quite big stars of film, like Maggie Smith, who played McGonagall, of course, and working with the kids. I mean, with watching Daniel and Rupert and Emma grow up. Every year I'd go. They started off like quite small, and they were you know, the first film, there were these polite little kids. Good morning, Mr. Bradley. How are you? How are you? Yeah, fine, thank you. And by the time we finished, he goes, hey, yo! And they're all taller than me, apart from Daniel, but you know. Who just Daniel always just wanted another couple of inches, you know. But he hasn't done bad, has he? Wow, so he's a brilliant, but they're just brilliant kids, and just working with people like Richard Harris, who was the first Dumbledore, and Michael Gambon, and a lot of us worked together in theatre 30, 40 years ago. I knew Alan Rickman from 1978 with the Royal Shakespeare Company, so we knew each other, and a lot of people, if they haven't seen or followed theatre or are not old enough, they might think that a lot of these people just suddenly became famous, and of course we all started off as relatively young people a long time ago, and it's nice when you bump into them again on the film set. So there was time for lots of coffee and gossip, you know, and that was part of the fun, and a lot of waiting around in between, and a lot of takes. I mean, that scene where Filch comes running into the hall and he has to run down and give a message, they only see it once, but I had to do that about 40 times. And it was like a long day. I think it was 2 days, actually. And so now I sometimes go to school, so either open the library or give a talk to kids. And they say, will you do the run? So I had to run up and down the hall doing the Filch run, and that seems to be quite popular. But it was a long 2 days doing that over and over. But yeah, they were all great, and I never once saw anybody lose their temper or create a scene or behave badly. It was a really happy set, and the producers made sure that everybody was on good terms, and they created a good atmosphere. I call it, when a director works like that, I call it they create a good playground, because that's what we're doing, really. And we're playing, we're acting, and you've got to, as long as you do your work properly, come with your lines learnt, and you don't waste a lot of time saying, I can't do this scene, or I haven't learnt it. When people are professional, because the actors are the only ones out the front, in front of the camera, but there's hundreds of people behind the camera who are all the best people doing their jobs, and it's a big team effort, and the Harry Potter set was the best team effort I've ever come across, to be honest. It's a big thing, you know, a lot of people.
Is that a good answer for your question?
Yeah.
Lola?
Yeah, also I'd have the same reaction if like I found my cat petrified, because I popped it out of my house.
You've got 3 cats?
Yeah.
What are the names?
Leia, Bowie and Dakota.
Leia, Bowie and Dakota. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your question. Hello everybody. There was 3 cats as well that played Mrs. Norris, wasn't there? Did you have 3 different cats that played?
Yes, mainly Max and Alanis, and they were both identical cats. And if one didn't feel like it, or was asleep, or had to eat or something, they got the other one out of the box.
Stump cat.
And sometimes Max was a bit lazy, because if we were doing a scene, he'd sometimes fall asleep in my arms. And I'd have to give him a tap on the head. Just, come on, mate.
We're going to go over to the next question over here.
Yeah.
What's your name and what's your question?
Harry,
Oh, crikey, we got another Harry.
Hey.
I was wondering if when you were in Afterlife, did Ricky Gervais often go off script?
When you were on Afterlife with Ricky Gervais,
Yeah.
did he often go off script?
Yes.
A lot of improvising.
Or he'd tell me a really rude joke just before a take or something, and he'd do a lot of things just to get you giggling, you know, and he was very, very funny, and he laughs a lot himself, you know. He's like a big kid, really, and I thought he might be a little bit tricky, because because he wrote it, directed it, and starred in it. But sometimes he'd say, if you don't like that line, say something else, you know. And it's just before the take, he'd say this instead, say this. So you have to be on your toes, but unlike Harry Potter, where you find yourself doing, you could spend a week doing a scene that lasts less than a minute. But with Ricky, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever, instead of a full day, you say, okay, we've done enough, let's go home. And
Bliss.
I know.
Early
I know. And he'd do a couple of takes, and he'd say, yeah, we've got that, that's great. But a lot of directors say, perfect, one more. And you think, well, if it's perfect, why are we doing it again? And you often end up with the first take you've done anyway, because it's the freshest. So, as I say, there's some directors who should be nameless who just go on and keep you there for ages, going over and over it. But Ricky doesn't do that. He gets you. He creates a nice atmosphere so that you often get the scene or get it right first time or second time, and it's lovely when that happens. And he's just, to me, Ricky is just a hero. He's a comedy hero, and I've always loved his work. I never thought I'd get to meet him. And then when I met him at the first rehearsal, he said, loved Game of Thrones, didn't think I would, but I did. And that was all he said. And I thought, how did he see Walder Frey in his father? You know, there's nothing, there's no likeness at all, there's no, and also working with him, I got to sit down a lot, or lie down, which is great. No running up and down the hall.
That's your question,
Thank
Harry.
you.
Round of applause for Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
I so thought you were going to do a Harry Potter question with called Harry, but that's even better. Can we go to this side? What's your name and what's your question?
My name is Charlie, and my question is, who was your favourite person to work with on set?
My favourite person on, well, I have to say Michael Gambon probably as Dumbledore, because I'd worked with him in the theatre, and I know he's like he's a bit like Ricky in that he's a bit naughty, and he'll say and do things that you're not expecting at the last minute, and but he makes me laugh more than anybody, I suppose. So yeah, I suppose Michael Gambon. Dan Radcliffe was great, very professional. I'll tell you a quick story about something Dan did. My wife used to teach special needs school children in Stratford-on-Avon, and every year I'd arrange for a party to go from the school down to the Harry Potter studios to watch us filming. And there'd be about a dozen of these kids of varying abilities, and the cast would treat them nicely and talk to them in between scenes. And after one visit, I said to Daniel, when we finish this scene, will you come and say hello?